And we're back with Robin Gibson, designer of Starship Babel and the upcoming game Arcane Bakery Clash.
Welcome to Design Diary, the podcast where you get to look inside my board game design notebook as well as what's going on inside my head. We look at a new word each day from the sense of mechanics, tone, theme, or inspiration for a full game. Today's word is
Panegyric, a eulogistic oration or writing, also formal or elaborate praise. This is one that's extremely new to me, but please tell me that you've used the word panegyric on a daily basis.
I have. I've been chanting it to myself for the past couple of days. But no, I've never heard of this before. I just wanted to ask you, because I've been doing this random word a day thing, a little bit. Where do you get your words?
It's funny because we are on day. Well, today launched the 37th episode of the show, of the series, and nobody's asked yet. And tonight, you're the third person that asked. Two people asked on Board Game Geek within 3 minutes of each other, which was hilarious. So I use an app. It's the Merriam-Webster dictionary app, and they have a word of the day, and I'm basically 1 week behind what theirs are. So the word panegyric was the word of the day February 18th, and it's going to go live on February 25th to give enough time to do your writing about it, us to meet up and record it, all that fun stuff, and me edit it and post it on all the different places. So if you're really curious, you could follow along a week ahead of time. But they're good words. There's today's word today, which is not the day we're recording. The word was nuts, which is just like the complete.
What do I do with this?
Yeah, it was so different than all the other days. Was
it like an was it a homonym or
it was enthusiastic. It was nuts as in enthusiastic.
Yeah, that's not much to work with.
Yeah, and sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't, but that one was just like the first word that I knew extremely well, and I like the ones that I don't know, and I like trying to get really deep into them, and this one's neat. This one I get jealous of these weekend words because there's always a cool word on the weekend that I don't get to do.
Well, the reason I asked was because
does it have something really in common with you?
Well, no, I've been using just a website called randomword.org, and it's just one screen with a letter in all lowercase on it, and when you refresh it, it's a different word.
Gotcha.
But I sat there for like 5 minutes one day, and it's like, man, I thought I had a pretty good grasp on this language, but I have not come across a word that I knew. So I somewhat doubt the actual randomness of those words. I think they've seeded it with.
There's a pool of
words that people don't know.
Words. Yeah, I looked through some of these old ones that I like before I started doing this, and there's words like, I can't even pronounce this one, so I'm going to play it.
Terpsichorean.
Yeah.
Terpsichorean, which is of or relating to dancing. So that's one of those ones where it's just like, I'm just going to design about dancing, and it's not what's so Terpsichorean about it. But it's fun.
That is fun. So with this one, like before you mentioned that sometimes you get caught up in something in the definition, and I definitely did that this time, because like the word eulogistic in the definition made me think that someone's died, and that's not necessarily the case with this word, right? But that's kind of where I went with that.
Yeah, that's one of those things I would get stuck on, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, so in my mind, this is a single session RPG.
Okay.
And at the start of it, it's got the first the first part of the session is the character generation part. So everybody has a character sheet, and on the sheet they put the character's likes, dislikes, goals, vices, strengths, and weaknesses, and then how they're connected to at least two of the other characters.
Okay.
And then through drawing of straws or something, or rolling of dice, one of the characters randomly dies. So
I'm really curious of what happens next, because one of these characters belong to a player, right?
Yeah. So it's very important that the death be random. It's very important that you put the work into generating this character, because I think it's important that it it's important to like have that weight to it.
Yeah, definitely.
So the other important part about that is they die through a completely random and boring means.
Okay.
So you've created this fantasy, this fantasy type. In my head, it's like generic medieval fantasy setting, and then like, so the other characters go to the tavern and they start, and one of them starts telling the story of how this character died, and the kind of structure of it is they take turns telling the story each time, and trying to make it like sound like something worth telling.
Okay.
And each time you can only change one. Detail from the previous time it was told. And the player whose character just died plays as the bartender who has like he can like stop them and ask clarifying questions, or can like arbitrate whose turn it is to tell the story, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's neat.
Yeah. And then I don't know how it ends, but
well, it kind of already ended at the beginning, but
yeah.
No, how would that end? So, they're telling the stories about that. Well, so here's something a game that we made years ago called North Southeast Quest, and it's a storytelling game that has one player says, I'm going on a quest, this is my character, and this is where I want to, this is my goal, I'm trying to find peace, and I'm starting in New Jersey, and my name is Jonathan. So from there, you gave a little bit of information about the character and where they are, and then all the other players had to then take that person on a journey to find their peace. So they would go to and they'd use these north, south, east, west cards, and they'd say, I'm going north to Maine. But there were also cards that dictated how they moved and what their emotions were. So you'd get two cards, and each one would have one of each, and you'd have to pick one. But what was neat about it was the player that was going on the quest wasn't playing, kind of like this player that died. But what they did was they would have to give a thumbs up or thumbs down if this felt like it was in their character, because everybody else was controlling that character. So they would say, I wouldn't go to Maine because, I'm Jonathan and blah, blah, blah. And, that's just not in my style. Thumbs down. And so many of those. And,
but they can't talk, or they can talk, but
all they would do is, they could talk. They could explain why. But it's just, no, it wasn't even a thumbs up or thumbs down. It was a hot or cold. There was a card that said hot or cold. So it was like, no, that's not really me. And it was very loose. It was very much storytelling. But it ended when the goal was accomplished, or if they just strayed too far and got too many cold ones.
Okay.
So in a similar way, that could end where, I don't know. I almost want to go to like the ghost is coming back to either haunt them or have some drinks with them.
Yeah, or it could just be like I know what it is.
Awesome.
They're trying to pay for their drinks with the story.
Yeah, that's perfect. And the bartender
that's
is the
why
one they need to woo.
Yeah. So they need to convince the bartender that their friend's death was important enough that he give them their drinks for free.
You could have a scale of how much of their drinks was paid for. It was completely free, or just partially free.
Yeah, that's great.
That's cool. That's a good ending.
Yeah. Do we have time for one more?
Oh, absolutely.
Like
I write like 5 of these
idea?
sometimes, and
Okay.
yeah, go for it.
So this is actually an older idea that I've had, and it's kind of playing off a thing you said about the ghost reminded me of it. So the idea of it was that you had some players who were ghosts and some players who were wizards.
Okay.
And in this in this magic system, ghosts or wizards get their magic from ghosts, and the ghosts are all trying to accomplish something, and they aren't allowed to directly tell the wizards what it is.
Okay.
And so the ghosts will give power to the wizards who appear to be doing the thing closest to their goal, and the wizards have to like accomplish their own goals while trying to figure out what on earth the ghosts want.
Okay.
That's as much as I have for that, but
That's...
like,
how many players do you imagine that being?
well, it's got to be at least
Like four
two,
or more.
Two wizards, two ghosts. It feels like a thing that could be like almost like a one-off convention game or something.
Oh yeah, totally. I could see that at Metatopia is one of those ones around here that's perfect for something like that. Get like Jay Treat to run it. Like it's like totally something I could see him. Oh, that's cool. That's one of those things that like you could just try it. Like, you know, it doesn't require a ton of build up or anything. You just get people together and just say let's do this.
Yeah. Back when I used to, my wife and I used to run the youth group at our church, and we stopped because they all went off to college. But they're
no longer youth.
They're no longer youth. But when we were running it, I would sometimes just print out 3 pages of rules and
Just
spend
do
a
it.
week or spend the day before setting up and just be like, okay, this is what we're doing this week, you guys.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's I need that kind of group. I don't have anything. I don't have any group. I have a mailing list of 150 people that I send it to and say, somebody tell me your thoughts. But that's actually really helpful too. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah. Sorry.
No, it was good chatting. It was this was fun. This was a good word, and
Yeah, it's
role playing stuff like that is so easy to just. I mean, you could just write up what you said right there, and we could be playing.
yeah. I saw a game. I don't remember the designer, so this is only half a shout out. But I saw a game called The Witch is Dead on Itch.io the other day. That's just one sheet of letter paper.
Yeah,
And it's obviously hand drawn, and it's just this like little one session RPG about woodland animals avenging the death of the witch who took care of them.
That's cool. I'm gonna look it up. I love Itch.io. I just want to do some very specific things just for that because it's such a cool format.
Yeah, I it's good for me because I do some comic stuff and I do some digital game design, and I do some tabletop stuff, and like they're mostly used by digital designers, but they are 100% there for any kind of content, any kind of digital content you want to put out.
Nice.
So yeah, and they're like it's a very good back end, and it's a very good community. So yeah.
Yeah, I just logged in and signed up the other day and saw they have some like Patreon integration and some stuff like that. So I'm going to dive into it and play around because it just seems like it's a lot of fun. It's a really cool. It seems like a really cool community.
Yeah, it is.
All right, well, cool. Tell everybody what yours was, your links and all that stuff.
So my website is metalsnail.net. From there's links to my Twitter and my Tumblr, which is where I post information, and to my itch.io, which is where I post my work.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining, and this was a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool.